This super secret encounter in the belly of the beast level of Doom the Dark Ages turned into the most difficult challenge I've ever attempted. I insisted on doing it with my custom rule set, Brawler, and not just Brawler, but Brawler Jolt, explained in depth in my video on the topic. If you want to skip this introduction that explains how the fight goes and what the rules are, jump to this timecode you see here. This fight took me 30 hours to beat, over 4 nights of streaming my attempts. You'll see why soon. So first, to the encounter. Before exiting the beast's belly, you need to run back to the room with all the bashable walls and hit a green button where the Cosmic Baron came from. And then you have to hit a second green button in the treasure room at the central area of the level. Since there is no checkpoint here, you need to save the secret fight in the pit to do before the second button, or else you'll have to run back and hit the first button every time you die, and you will die. The first of 3 waves is an Enforcer Cyber Demon on a high platform buffing 2 Komodos. It's a really bad situation because if you go up to him and the Komodos try to join the platform, they can shove him around and he'll essentially teleport to other parts of the arena, or even across the entire stage. Another big problem is that, due to the faltering geobug, attacks that are supposed to be guaranteed falters will be ignored if he's pressed up against the edge of the platform, or if he's against a wall after teleporting. If you leave this area and try to engage the Komodos elsewhere, there is a deviously placed Arachnotron on a lone platform near the entrance raining bullets down on you. So you have 2 enemies with near hit scan flurries of bullets and 2 Komodos rushing you, spitting fireballs at you constantly and swiping you from off screen. Wave 2 is far worse because the game brings in 2 acolytes, the witches. If you don't eliminate them immediately, their clones appear, and the entire stage will become covered in their unblockable spell circles, making it nearly impossible to engage with any other enemy. Even worse, if you kill the first wave's Arachnotron early, the witches will spawn while there's still a Komodo on screen, so you gotta leave them up there for the entire first wave. You kill the first witch, and the rest of the wave begins. 2 whiplashes, 2 revenants, and 2 armored pinkies. And probably that second witch already in her protective bubble spawning circles everywhere. Once you whittle them down, killing one of the whiplashes will trigger wave 3, and that's the real nightmare. 3 Cosmic Barons, empowered by the Enforcer Armored Mancubus that's sitting behind an army of 4 empowered Nightmare Imps. If you want to debuff those Barons, you gotta get through that. The Barons will chase and swarm you, putting you into impossible parry patterns, breaking your shield, and then you're done. If you can beat all this, you win. Now, making this fight a million times harder is the Brawler rule set. Brawler, an evolving rule set that's been in place since Doom 2016, bans every gun except the combat shotgun and the pulverizer. Wraithstones are banned, so they can't reach their full potential. No BFC, of course. The only permitted shield rune is Ground Fissure, but with no upgrades. The only melee is Gauntlet, but the upgrades stop after Duelist. The shield upgrades stop after Steadfast, and there are a bunch of game settings rules that are better left explained in the video if you really want to know. But the important ones to note in this run are the mid to low parry setting, low resources, 50% daze duration, which makes executions harder to get, and the big one, 75% damage to demons, which allows me to unlock Jolt for the gauntlet. That's why it's Brawler Jolt. The 2 guns blow through ammo really quick, and demons stay alive longer, so that's even more ammo spent. So you have to constantly find ways to work in melee strikes for ammo. You gotta build those strikes through more parries. It all works together to keep you starved, up close, and brutal. I'm also playing at 120% game speed. So after a dozen hours of getting wrecked by the first wave, I decided I just need to rush down the Cyber Demon and take him out. If I lose a lot of health, fine. I'd rather kill him fast than run around for 3 minutes slowly getting the job done more safely. However, rushing him right away means there's a chance the Komodos on the ground level will do a stab attack that somehow hits you while you're on the platform, so you have to be ready to parry this unseeable bullshit attack. Mid-range damage is shotgun and close-up is pulverizer, charging haste through kills and melee to increase fire rate and movement speed, and this melts the Komodos. Long-range combat shotgun is terrible damage, but the fire application is surprisingly far, allowing me to run away when I need to build up a little armor, which of course is lost in a single hit. And there are no fodder demons around to restack resources, no lines of shield guys, no zombies, only heavies and super heavies. I got way better at parrying Komodos, even parrying their off-screen attacks thanks to the indicators, and capitalizing on falter states by shield bashing right back in so I could apply shock with the gauntlets. Make sure you know your falter states, watch my video on the faltering system. Before killing the second Komodo, I make sure to damage the Arachnotron just to the point of death so I can quickly take him out early in Wave 2. The witches spawn, and if I'm lucky, I'll spot one of them right away in a place that happens to be far from the Arachnotron's targeting. Take her out while dodging the other witches' circles, and begin the hunt for the second witch. If I'm really lucky, I can kill her clone quickly and focus her down. Otherwise, I'm left dealing with this room full of enemies and her spell circles, which is what usually happens. The majority of my Wave 2 runs did not make it past here. Revenants are a much bigger problem than the Pinkies and the Whiplashes, so I try to isolate one of them and lock him down with falters and shield work with melee, and from there it's smooth until the Barons show up. Farm a little armor from the Whiplashes, parry them to get some melee strikes to restock ammo, and try to make sure both of them are low health because when one dies, the Barons show up. And it doesn't make things easier to still have a Whiplash on the board. I try to kill her too, but it's pretty hard sometimes. On the rare occasion that I actually make it to the Empowered Barons, I gotta ignore the Enforcer Mancubus and just fight them. I died over and over, either from getting overwhelmed by all their combined strike patterns, or more often by backing myself into Geo and I couldn't get out. It took me 26 hours of attempts to finally get one Baron kill, and when I did, I gained a lot of confidence. I started playing out of my mind.
God damn. Oh, first Baron down, man. That's our first Baron down in 26 hours of attempts, man. Wow. Okay, we found our choke point, though. Guys, that's super important. We found our choke point.
In this moment of a Baron kill, I finally figured out that if I lead the Barons up the right side of the arena, I can funnel them through the entrance, farm a little armor if I need it, falter the group with a good parry pattern, and unload some melee for damage and ammo, then back off until I jump down to the bottom level. That gives me a bit of time to collect myself and guide them back through the loop. There's also a Megasphere on the platform with the Arachnotron, but I always save it for the Barons. If I need it earlier, the run is already doomed. If you'd like to attempt this secret room fight using the Brawler rule set, skipping right to it, you can download Prote's Brawler and the Beast mod linked in the video description below and start a new save with it. You'll start the level right before the fight with the gold and rubies needed to purchase what's necessary according to the rules, and the game settings are automatically set to what I used in my Brawler Jolt run. You'll need to raise damage to demons back to 100% if you're not going to use Jolt. Okay, so that's the challenge. Those are the tools and restrictions I'm dealing with. Here's the run.
Okay. Switches are down. Living it down. Pinky. Ow. it! That's the fucking game! Ah! Oh my god, I did it, guys. I fucking did it. I did it. I'm not crying, but like I could. Oh my god, I did it. I fucking did it, guys. I did it.
I feel kind of bad that I just cheesed the ending section, but I had no shotgun shells. I had no idea how those nightmare imps were going to react to me getting close now that the barons were dead, so I said, screw it, I'm just going to reflect those Mancubus projectiles until he goes down, and then I'll pick him off. Not exactly an exciting finish, but a legitimate one at least. I will disclose that lately I've been playing the Dark Ages with Kyb's mod, raising weapon swap speed from 1.0 to 1.5 for a little more comfort. So I can't say that this clear is 100% legitimate, but I did suffer for 30 hours, so it certainly wasn't easy, and I don't feel bad about it at all. I wish this victorious run had been a bit cleaner, because sometimes I would get a run that just looked magical, like I was Neo seeing the Matrix and playing perfectly. Anyways, thanks for watching, thanks to everyone who tuned into these crazy streams and gave their support. It was hell, but it was also amazing. I told the live viewers I'd celebrate by opening one of my favorite beers, a huge Archer Bourbon Barrel Imperial Stout. So cheers everybody.